Hey, Tyler, nice to meet you and welcome to the Retail Whore podcast.
Yeah, it's great to meet you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate
Sure.
it.
I know your brand, Denik. I am a buyer as well. I do retail consulting. So we actually buy you for a couple of my accounts. I love your brand. Fine Lines is who reps you here on the West Coast.
Yep.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your brand?
Cool. Well, again, thanks for having me. When I was starting the company almost 11 years ago, one of the things I did to make money while I was starting the company was I did radio broadcasts. So this is feeling a little familiar. Natural. So thanks. Yeah, thanks for helping me reminisce a little bit. So I started the company 11 years ago. I've always been an artist, a designer. And people told me, even growing up, people told me, don't be an artist because you'll never make a living. You'll never do anything in the world. And I just didn't believe that. And so started the company 2011. And this was right as Instagram was really coming onto the scene. And it was so easy to connect with these artists from all walks of life, all over the world. Started connecting with them and saying, hey, we'll take some of your artwork. I had bought some machinery from a previous investment deal I had done before, and bought some machinery and said, we'll use some of your art. We'll print it on notebooks, journals, and sketchbooks. And then with every product sold, we'll send you a portion and we'll use a portion to build schools. And these artists were like, you mean I don't have to be Picasso to make a difference with my art and I can make some money with it? And so over the course of 10 years, I mean, really, we've only had a handful of artists ever say no.
Wow.
And so we just started really grassroots and, making products. And when we first started, can I just be like a little transparent and blunt? So when we first started the company, it was really expensive to print lined pages for our notebooks. And so blank pages was easy, but printing lined pages for a handful of notebooks, the notebooks would have cost like $30 to sell them. Yeah. So what I had to do starting out was I had a spiral binding machine that I had purchased. And so we would print the covers and we would go to Walmart or these other retail locations and buy their spiral notebooks for 25 cents. And we would take the spiral coils off, take both covers off, and then we had our lined paper for 25 cents instead of $7.
That's actually brilliant.
And then we would line up our machines to punch our covers the same formatting as whatever the spiral notebook lined paper that we had. And then that's how we would make the first notebooks. We put it in a nice poly bag, make it retail ready, give it a sticker as well, seal it up. And then we would travel all over the country selling products, going to gallery events, art walks. We'd go to Vegas, LA, New York, all over Utah, just driving up and down and doing farmers markets until we finally started landing some retail accounts, wholesale accounts.
So are you still in Utah?
Yep. Based in Utah. We're about an hour and a half north of Salt Lake City.
And you went to college there?
Yep. I went to school at Utah State. I had started and was developing a tech and an app company with some buddies in college, and they had graduated. Some major investors were coming on board. There was a scenario where I had a year left in school. And so I sold my shares and wanted to do something that I was more passionate about. And it happened to be something that was using art for good. So
I love that. Okay, so I'm going to bring out something completely random because listening to your podcast with your college buddy, apparently that you went around and saved little pieces of notes that you'd found all over campus.
Yes.
I was dying when I heard that story, and you kept them because.
Well, I mean, it was so funny. walking around campus, we found notes, to-do lists, like all these crazy. I mean, at first I started up just kind of picking it up because it was trash on the side, or on the sidewalk or something. But I ended up just picking up these pieces, and they had like some cool content on them. It might be like a little note to someone, but it was all this creative trash, and I kind of made it out of like a little bit of an art piece.
Shopping lists from all the women are the ones that made me laugh.
Yes. Yes. Random lists, shopping lists.
I sort of feel like you need to take all those scraps and create a cover out of one of your journals out of those.
Yes.
I think that'd be kind of cool.
It would be cool. It would be.
So when you went, were you going to school for marketing or something, or what did you go to school for? Is it in line with what you're doing now?
So originally I was pursuing graphic design.
Okay.
And I was about 26 at the time when I was wrapping up some schooling at Utah State. And I didn't want to go that design route. Like, I had done so many courses. I had a lot of clients that I was doing work for, and I ended up getting a degree in communication studies. And so really that's like a business degree without the math. So it's all leadership and organizational communication, negotiation, persuasion, all that kind of stuff. And I was really passionate about that, getting creative with words. And so that's where my degree came from. And then I also got really excited about entrepreneurship. So I have a minor in entrepreneurship and a minor in design. And so, yes, I started it while I was finishing up school. I was an intern for myself, and got like 5 credits as an intern for myself. Yep. So, got really creative there. And then after graduation, moved down to Salt Lake. We opened up an office. We started building and expanding the brand. And then in 2014, we brought on 2 investors. They invested in the company, and they were up here in Logan. And so we moved the office back up to Logan, and they had a ton of industry experience. They had built a couple of major retail brands. And so when they came on board, yes, they infused some capital, but they really infused some know-how and helped take our ambitious, youthful nature and really point us in the right direction to start really building a retail brand.
So I want to peel back the layers a little bit on how you find artists, because the scope of art that are on the covers of these goes from street art to really delicate, beautiful floral. So when you guys first started, how many artists did you approach, and how did you find them?
So really, we just started reaching out. Social media was a big help there. If we started working with one artist and they had 50,000 followers, they would post about working with us, and all of their artist followers would see it. And then we would get that organic reach out from their followers back to us. And so it's just kind of been this massive organic growth where we continue to just connect with artists by other artists and other partnerships that we're doing. And, we've got art directors now who are really curating those designs, trying to build out collections for the variety of retailers we work with, the variety of online customers. And so, even to this day, we still reach out to a lot of artists. If we see their work, really trend forward, we reach out, let them know what we're doing, and then start working on projects together.
I mean, because I was sitting and looking at, and I was like wondering if you did do curation and decide like we're going to roll out, based on what's trending, obviously, in the industry. The mushrooms are one of my favorite prints. We did that for a couple accounts, and it was like dead on for. And what was great is that so many people in the industry all had that same kind of cool genre. So it all, because I do a lot of cross merchandising, like I'll cherry pick lines and curate one big collection. And do you do that to curate, like, this is what we're forecasting this year? Do you go off of other people's forecasts, or do you just go on gut instinct?
We kind of go a little bit on gut instinct, but the other thing, since we are with our print on demand productions, since we are able to move so fast, we could drop a full collection today, set
Wow.
up the artwork and set up the product images and launch a catalog in a day. I mean,
Wow.
that's the reality of what we can do. And so, we don't promote that, and we don't try to do it that fast. But if a retailer was in need of, hey, we need these types of designs, we've got a massive catalog, and we also have a massive network of artists where we would just go ahead and reach out to a few of our artists and say, hey, this retailer is looking for this, mushrooms, for example. Hey, can you send over some of your mushroom designs? And then we can send over a deck and the products, within a few hours. So to be able to move really quickly has been something that's helped set us apart. And we will launch quarterly small batch designs with things that we think are on trend forward, and so we have the ability to be really flexible there. And I think that's what has helped us be successful in the retail landscapes, to be able to be nimble and move quickly on trends.
Well, no doubt, especially with the supply chain issue, and you probably are one of the very few people that's actually shipping on time, and
Right.
actually, retailers are actually getting product. Because I can tell you right now, from
For
being
sure.
at the other end of it, like I think out of some POs where we'd have 40 items, I think I joke about, for one of my big orders, I got literally a set of napkins and a butter dish. I'm like, really?
Oh,
40
wow.
items. And it was like our whole Christmas theme. So,
Yep.
we all have had to figure out how to pretend it looks like Christmas and it feels like Christmas for
Yeah,
the
for
rest of
sure.
the season. But that must be phenomenal for your retailers. And you have something like 16,000 retailers.
Yeah,
Who
we're
are
in
some of
about
your key,
16,000 retail locations. Yeah.
who are some of your key accounts?
We work with Urban Outfitters, to Target, to Barnes and Noble, Barnes and Noble College, a lot of the college bookstores, Paper Source. So,
Disney is also one of yours.
yep, we do a lot with Disney. Disney's a fun one because our retail channel is our largest channel, but right next to it is our custom channel. And so, we make, I can't even tell you how many custom notebooks every day for companies like Nike, Disney, Google, Facebook, TikTok, Uber,
Wow.
where they also care about making a difference and giving back and having some impact. And so, I mean, that side of our business is also booming.
I want to
So,
get into the give back part, because that
sure.
I've always said, I believe whether you're a large company or a small company, I believe you need to either give back time or
Yeah,
money or something to
for
give back,
sure.
however big your company is. And part of what drew me to wanting to interview you so bad is because you've built 6 schools now, and
6 schools. Yeah.
that part of it is, I mean, that's impressive. I mean, you not only walk the walk, you talk the talk. So when you are going out to develop these schools, how does that process work? Because they're in Laos, they're in Nicaragua, they're in Africa. I mean, how do you go about deciding where you're going to go? How is the process?
So the process is really our executive team discussing the opportunities, because we get hit up all the time for nonprofits and other organizations that are building schools. And so we kind of keep a list of, here are the areas of need. Here are the nonprofits that need some support. Here's a school that was destroyed and now they need to be rebuilt, those types of things. And we're just kind of keeping a catalog of that. And then once we're ready to fund a new school, then we can make those decisions and move quickly on it. And from day one of my major professors in college, he was on the board of directors for Mali Rising, which is a nonprofit that builds schools in Mali. And so it was just so easy to make that connection to them. And, I remember it took us, probably 2.5 to 3 years initially to get to the point where we could fund one school. And we had just told so many people about it, that we were going to build a school. And when I started the company, everyone was like, you really think you can sell notebooks and build a school, let alone many schools? And so we were just hustling and trying so hard. And then finally we funded a school and it was built. And I remember getting the news that the school was finished and sharing that on social media, and then getting back to work like, man, this is awesome. Such a good day. And I got a phone call, and it was my mom in the middle of the day. I'm like, Mom, I'm hustling right now. We're trying to make things work. So I answered and I was like, hey, what's up, Mom? And she was
all
bawling.
impatient. Oh,
Yeah. She was like literally, sobbing. And I was like, uh-oh, what happened? Everything okay? And she just said, I'm so proud of you guys
oh,
that you have stuck with it and you've actually built a school. And I lost it at that point. That was like the moment where it was very real. Like, wow, yeah, we've been going at it for a few years to finally get to one school. And we just got an email from that school that our first batch of students have graduated and they're on to like trade schools. And those, we have a predominantly female school, which is with Mali Rising, all the schools that they have in Mali, our school is the one that has the most girls. And so we also have a girls program there. And so a lot of these girl graduates are off to trade school to be nurses and firefighters and things. But these girls all on their own came back to start a mentor program with the other girls that are currently in school. And so it's just amazing to see those generational impacts that are happening, because we sell artwork on notebooks and it's able to make an impact that lasts generations and helps these students get out of poverty and progress in life. It's a lot of fun, really rewarding.
Do you go back to the schools?
We try to get back. There are some challenges, especially since COVID, a lot of restrictions in those smaller areas. Some of the areas are extremely remote. I was at our school in Guatemala, and it took a day to get there just on roads, dirt roads. And it's in such a small area in Guatemala where, the national language is Spanish, but this small little area that our school's in, they don't even speak Spanish. They speak Quechua, which is a ancient Mayan language. And one of the first things that they learn at the school is to speak Spanish so that they can communicate with other villages. And so I've tried to get out to some our Mali schools a few times. There were Ebola outbreaks and some terrorists taking over the hotels by the airport multiple times. And so I need to get some more trips on the books. I literally was talking with a nonprofit, one of our partners, just this week, and he was talking about the restrictions on COVID and how that's, we have to, part of the process is you have to take about 4 tests to get into the country, then to get into the caravans, to get to the school locations. You have to be tested there. And then all the other paperwork for some of these locations is challenging. So hopefully we can get to some more schools.
Where in Nicaragua is the school? Because my husband surfs like avidly, and all the trips we take are all surf based, and Nicaragua is one of our favorite countries.
Brad, I love that. So this one, I am not going to be able to pronounce it very well.
It's all right.
Artis Pineda.
Okay. It's interesting because the last trip we were there was a political outbreak and political unrest, and we still were like, we're going to go. And even though the state's it's level orange, we don't suggest you go. We went and we entered through Costa Rica. We talk about a schlep to get there. Because we'll drive 7 hours through a jungle just to get to a remote location, but that country is so beautiful and just so incredibly poor. It's even with the beauty of Leon and whatnot, it's eye-opening when you start traveling to third world countries.
For sure. for sure.
When you are working with the schools, do you supply them notebooks as well?
A lot of the times, yeah. Sometimes getting products into those locations, our nonprofit partners have been like, hold off a little bit, because a lot of times they might get stolen or end up missing.
Yeah,
And so we've donated a ton. We also do a ton of notebooks to schools in the U.S.
great.
So, you know, the most recent was about $75,000 worth of notebooks for. We donated those to the Kids in Need Foundation, and they help at-risk youth in the U.S. with school supplies and mentoring. And so that went through different inner
It's
city
phenomenal.
youth
You
programs
keep
and
it within
schools.
the US as well. So $75,000 in notebooks, like what does that look like? Because your notebooks are, not like crazy expensive. So is that like
Right, right.
an entire container?
So 75,000 is pallets worth. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
And how does that get paid for as well, through the foundations, or is it just a straight up donation from you guys out of your own pocket?
yeah. Just straight up donation from us. The Kids in Need Foundation, they have their own trucks, and so they'll just pick up container loads,
Wow.
so that they can distribute those to their locations throughout the country. So when we're ready to make a donation to them, we give them a call and they schedule a time to come pick it up. They're ready to roll.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It's incredible that it's such a quick turnaround, especially if you can print that fast.
Yep, yep.
What do you guys foresee? Because since you are working on some trends, back to the
Mhm,
business, the retail
mhm.
part of it is, what
Sure,
trends
sure.
do you see coming up for fourth quarter?
So some of the things that I have seen in our trend forecasts are a little further push on that retro 70s vibe.
Mhm.
Um, there's some designs that we've already kind of seeded out to some retail partners that are in the vein of like vintage quilting
Wow,
that have gotten picked up immediately.
love that.
And so they're, patchwork, that style.
Yeah.
We've got some embroidered journals that are coming out that look like that vintage patchwork embroidery. And all of those have just been picked up quick. So
My friend is one of the buyers for Romans, and
okay.
he and I worked at Z Gallery together, and he, much like how I buy for stores, we both curate collections, and
Love
one of
it.
his collections is like UFO conspiracy theory. And I
Uh-huh.
think I think your journals were part of that collection, because I saw him a couple weeks ago, the beginnings of this new curated collection he's
Mm-hmm.
doing. And I'm like, I love this
Yep.
theory. It seems very Urban Outfitters as well.
Yep, for sure, for sure. We definitely see that. That's for sure in the look. I mean, there's some additional. There's some new interpretations to kind of this celestial vibe,
Yeah.
which has been around a little bit, but still some evolution there. But yeah,
Do you foresee yourself having your own retail space?
we talk about it probably every year.
And
And I think at some point there's a reality to that for us for sure. So it's I think it would be a matter of location. And we've also, because we do so much print on demand, one of the things that we're looking at, especially with COVID, um, the specialty shops, the boutiques that have been working hard at having a better online presence,
Mhm.
we have built out a full API tool so that we can plug into the back end of any website, so
Wow,
that
that's
we can
phenomenal.
have our full collection added to even our specialty shops, and we can print on demand. And so that's where we're going to continue to push, is more and more of that technology to support our retail partners. And that's in beta testing right now, which I think there's some fun challenges to it, but to be able to allow a specialty shop to have unique journals and notebooks and art prints that they hold no inventory for, still get their full wholesale and have it made on demand for them.
What are the minimums to do something like that? I mean, is this more like, does it look like I'm going online and I click onto, this extra area where I can pick out my own journal and I'm just buying for me? Can I buy just one, or are there minimums involved for the retailers?
Yeah, it would be no minimum. So it would look like, so let's say, so Steadfast Supply, they're out in DC, a great shop, love working with them. You would go to Steadfast Supply, go to their website and hit their journal section, and you would see, 10 different Denik journals, whatever designs they've curated, and you would just purchase it on their site, and it would come from Steadfast Supply, but we would print it and ship it for Steadfast Supply.
You're basically drop shipping.
Exactly. But for small retailers.
Wow.
Which I don't know anybody else is doing that.
No, and it's such a great support. I mean, I've had more conversations with people in the industry about how to support the retailers, because I've said it so many times on this podcast, is that the pandemic had a very fast way of wiping out old school retailers who weren't comfortable going live, weren't comfortable, they didn't have an online presence. They weren't on social media. And I mean, it's odd. And it was literally watching like retail fast forwarded, like in the fastest time I've ever seen stores just like in and out. And behind it are all these young retailers that have totally different ways of doing things. But I love that you're doing this as an extra for the retailers that are getting more savvy and, are looking at, bigger online presence, because we all know something like this is going to happen again.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I mean, I hate saying that, but in talking to several people in the industry, it's like, I think everyone is being cautionary now with thinking about support for retailers with the caution that this possibly is going to happen again.
Sure, for sure. And I think, the best tool to get ready for that is to make sure that retailers have that diversification, where obviously, I mean, in the 90s, I was one of those kids that was skateboarding at the malls and just lived in stores. Like, I just loved it. And that really influenced my design aesthetic. And, I love retail. So it's not going to go away. Retail will never go away. People need that visceral experience. It's never going to go away, but it will evolve. And it's got to be that balance of brick and mortar, online experience, this omni-channel. It's where you have products available wherever your customers are. And so if we can be a partner we're supporting you brick and mortar, but we also have a full catalog of items that can be made on demand, that you can build an assortment online, do limited editions, those types of things, or even customize your own. That's where
that was just my next question.
Yeah, that's where we'd like to go too, is where, you can do your own designs and set those up. And so we've got a little bit of work to do to make sure that we can have that fully built out. The functionality works right now, and it works great on our site where you can customize your own. But to get it set up now, where on the back end, a retailer can select from our catalog or design their own items with local artists or something like that, and then just set it on their site, turn it live, and then we'll print it for them and ship it for them.
So because one thing I'm thinking of right now is I'm creating an online platform for merchandising, but I want to do something as a giveaway, same thing that goes. Yeah. So if we did so I could send you my artwork.
Yep.
And you guys, do you have minimums for, custom things like that, in different options, sizes and whatnot forever? Because I know that's one thing for retailers to have something like, even that's part of what I love, like going to the shows, is that notebooks is always something they like an easy giveaway. And it's like for retailers as well. It's like, it's just a great thank you gift. It's something everybody can use.
For sure.
And I know everyone that's listening is probably asking, like, how do they do their own store custom notebooks?
For sure. The easiest route is on our website, because we've got a bunch of different silhouettes of products that can be fully customized. So if you're going strictly price driven, or you want to use a certain, a soft cover versus a hard cover, or you want to do a pocket notebook versus a larger journal, you have those choices. You can design it exactly how you want. And then the discount code is partner20. So use all caps partner and then 20 partner 20 will give you an additional 20% off any of the bulk pricing on there. So as you start, adding 10 journals, there's price breaks, 3 journals, there's price breaks, all the way up through thousands. And a lot of people use that because it's just self-service, and you can select, mix and match. We have a complete custom team and design team that works with partners on these projects as well. And so if we need to get you linked up with one of our custom team members, they're wizards and gurus at custom notebooks, so they can help. And they've got their bulk pricing for partners as well. So through the site is going to be the fastest route, the easiest route, but we can also work with one of our reps.
So you guys introduced the pencil holders, little pencil bags this year. What other products along with the journals do you carry? And then what do you kind of foresee you guys evolving into additional merchandise?
So we get hit up all the time about planners and calendars. And we've been burned so many times on those items.
Really?
So we have been building out the ability to do it completely on demand too. So that we can offer those products with a variety of cover options and things like that. So there'll be more of those. We're also working on some other substrates, so printing on different fabrics and materials on demand.
Yeah, I did notice that. Those are great.
So
there's one that you put out it was a denim that had embroidery. That was great. And you do that in-house too?
So the embroidery is not.
Okay.
Maybe one day. But,
I was like, wow, you must have a massive production space.
Yeah, maybe one day. The embroidery is some complex work, but so a wide variety of products, from really building out, because since COVID, the creator economy has gone through the roof. And it's these at home, on the road creators. And so what we're building is more and more creative lifestyle products, tools that help you in your creative life. And so things from desk calendars to desk art, we used to do this craft desk pad that was gorgeous craft paper. And we get hit up every single day about bringing that item back. So that's going to be resurrected. I've already seen those with updated packaging, and then a variety of other items that, like tool tins, desk tins, even some desk art. I think there's a lot of products that we've got kind of in the roadmap that we're already starting to test and work on the printing to make sure it works. People ask us all the time for different bottles, water bottles, cups. And so we've done some experimenting there too. Not promising anything, but we'll see what happens. Pencils
are huge.
I know. We get asked for pencils and pens all the time, and I know that we do have some pen sets that are in the works, as well as some really creative colored pencil sets.
Yay! I mean, they're just for retailers. Most of us merchandise and cross merchandising, where we are selling pens and pencils and journals all together, which create add-on sales. And something like that is always, I think, as a retailer, so helpful when it's like a one-stop shop and it all merchandises beautifully together. And what do you see? I always try and ask these last couple questions. One, where do you find inspiration from, and where do you find time to relax and balance? That's a great question. So inspiration for me, if you ask our team, I'm the guy that loves shiny objects. And so I like
too many ideas. And so I see it all the time in daily life. There are a list of sites that I like to go to that are just more design oriented. I also am a little bit of an interior design and architecture nerd. And so I in some free time and at the end of the day, I'll jump in or even at the start of the day to get inspired. I'll take a look at some of those blogs and those pages to get the juices flowing. And so really I definitely dabbling and exploring in as many design blogs as possible. And as far as like disconnecting and
yes, balance,
when I'm at work, I'm 100% at work. And then when I go home at night, hopefully I'm home by dinner, I'm 100% home. And I just made
your
that
wife and
commitment.
kids.
Wife and kids. Yep. I've got 4 little kids, 9, 7, 5, and 9 months.
Wow. Congrats.
So,
busy.
thank you. Yes. So when I log off and I get home at night, I'm 100% dad and husband, and that's what I do. And now that the weather's warm, jump straight into some games or soccer or something with the kiddos. And then on the weekends, same thing. I hustle as hard as possible during the week so that Saturday morning, I don't have to work. Saturday night, Sunday.
That is rare. So you don't
home.
even, do you check emails or anything on the weekends, or do you really try and turn it off?
If I pull up my email, I have this buzzer goes off in my head and I turn off my phone and I'm like, whoa, what am I doing? Set this aside. Obviously there's occasional fires or things, which, I'll get a text or something like that and try to help. But, when I'm home, I'm home.
That's phenomenal. Where do you see the company in 10 years?
So great question. If you ask anybody in our company, what they'll say is our vision for the next 10 years is Denik will be a collection of the world's greatest print brands. And so that's expanding into additional brands with printed products and materials in other industries, from interior design. And so, we've also got things that we're looking at in industries like the baby industry. And so really being able to build out on print that's doing good in multiple industries. And so you'll start to see some of that in the future, some of our sister brands that we'll also have under the Denik label. That'll also add some value to new retailers too.
Another question I'd like to ask entrepreneurs is, what kind of advice would you give to somebody that has a company and wants to start doing some type of give back program, whether it's as big as building a school or, finding a way to give back? What is your advice?
I would say start today and just infuse it into who you are as a company and a brand, even if it's just as simple as, we are going to hire people with special needs. We'll start today. Post whatever that job is, post it, or talk to that group, talk to that community, and do something today. People think that if I'm going to do something good or I'm going to give back, it's got to be huge and massive. Well, when I was swiping 25-cent notebooks from Walmart and making my own products, selling $10 a day, we were still setting it aside and sending that to our nonprofit partners. So every little bit helps, and every little bit, more importantly, counts. If you have it as a part of who you are and who your brand and you are as a brand, and you just build it in, every little bit counts. So start doing it today, even small.
I love that. That's phenomenal. Do you want to tell everybody where they can find you and your social Instagram handle and what areas you're repped in and all that?
Yep, for sure. Yep. Fine Lines reps us on the West. Also, if you want to find us on any of the social channels and platforms, it's shop, SHOP, and then Denik, DENIK, shop Denik. So any social platform at shop Denik. Also, I want to give out my calendar. So any entrepreneur, any retailer, anyone that wants to link up, or I do it a lot for students. I do it a lot for artists and mentors, those who are trying to get things going. My calendar is calendly.com, calendly.com/Tyler Tolson, TYLERTOLSON. So calendly.com/Tyler Tolson. So any entrepreneurs or folks, students, artists who are trying to get things going, I give out that calendar. I've got about 40 slots throughout the month, half-hour slots, so that if they want to get some coaching, some mentoring, whatever it is, I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for people who gave me 30 minutes. So anybody who's listening,
love that. So you have no idea how much, because that is so what I believe. And you are the first person that I've had that is saying, I will give back half an hour of time and sit and talk to you, because so many entrepreneur sites and whatnot, I'll say, call so-and-so, like if Tim Ferriss, like, call up so-and-so and ask him, take him to coffee. And it's the hardest thing in the world to do, because no one really has time. And it's like the fact that you opened up time like that is phenomenal.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. I literally, like I said, I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for the people that gave me 30 minutes. So I've got time slots, jump on there. And seriously, I give this out, and sometimes people hesitate, but I don't care what it is you want to talk about. You might be a rep and you're looking for new sales tactics and you want to chat with me about opportunities, or, you want to talk about getting your products into retail locations, or how to get into Michael's, how to get into Target, how to work on trends, or, whatever it is. You're an artist, entrepreneur, student of life. I'm here.
Wow. That is I can't think of a better way of ending this. I am so grateful for your time. It was such a pleasure. You just blew me out of the water with that. So I really, really appreciate that.
For sure. Yeah. Feel free to, share that in your show notes and things. I'm happy to help. And if there's anything I can do further for you or anybody in your network, just link us up. Happy to help.
Yeah.